Yeah.
After the team's won back-to-back A10 championships, do you feel like you're being underestimated by being ranked fourth in the preseason poll?
I think the team does. You know, it's hard for me to say. I haven't been here. Obviously, I've seen their team over the last few seasons, and I've never put a whole lot of stock in preseason polls in my coaching career. So if we need a little extra motivation, I guess that's a good thing. But to be honest with you, I don't think this group needs any extra motivation. They seem pretty determined to prove themselves, to continue to hold a really high standard for our basketball program, and to be even better than they've been in the past. So that's probably what's impressed me the most is there's no complacency whatsoever. If anything, there's a hunger to be even better. So we're just going to continue to prepare day to day and make sure that the end product in March is a lot better than the beginning product, and we're going to work really hard to make sure that happens.
You invested a lot of time at Hartford and in the state of Connecticut.
Yep.
What's it been like to leave that and challenges of coming to a new program and just what it meant for your family?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of every emotion you can think of. Very exciting in so many ways for me professionally, to come and have a chance to coach these young ladies and the level that they're at and the talent they have and the success they've had. Made it a really easy decision basketball-wise to want to coach in the Atlantic 10, to want to coach at GW and continue to, kind of further my career and challenge myself. I think personally it's been up and down in so many good ways, and then other times it's been tough. I have a lot of family back in Connecticut, so just getting my kids to adjust to a new life and our family to adjust to a new lifestyle at times can be challenging. But I think it would be a lot harder if I didn't enjoy coming to work every day. That's for sure. So many times when you take over a program, you typically hear coaches say that they have a lot of really good kids, but they're not that good at basketball, or the opposite happens where they're really good at basketball, but they're not great kids. And so something has to change. I was fortunate to walk into a situation where I've got great kids that are really good at basketball. So they have definitely made it a lot easier for me in this transition for sure.
Coach, you guys lost John Quellen, Lauren Chase, obviously, but you still return a plethora
Yeah.
of players like Caira, Shannon Crenshaw, and Shivey. How valuable is that to have players that are established and returning for the newcomers?
Well, it's always important to have kids that already know how to win and have established a winning culture. And obviously, Caira and Hannah were a big part of that. Shannon and Bree Cummings and Kelly Prangy. I mean, they're all a big part of the success of the program, especially over the course of the games where JJ was out last year during the A10 regular season, and they were still able to finish first in the conference. So that experience and that understanding of what it takes to prepare to win a regular season championship and a conference championship is really important to have. But I think that for me and probably for them, it was maybe a good time to have a new system because the personnel is different and how we're going to be good and the ways that we're going to have to be able to score is going to be different than what they've been able to do the last 3 years with Lauren and JJ out there. So it's going to take some time to adjust to that. But the nice thing is that they're very, they're just receiving the information so well. They're applying it to the best of their ability, and they're trusting. And I think that that's a big key, is just to be able to say, hey, we don't always understand it right now, but we like what we're feeling, we like what we see, and we trust that it's going to continue to get better and that this system overall, offensively and defensively, is going to suit this group going forward.
Coach, congratulations on the gold medal.
Thank you.
How does coaching the Olympics compare to coaching collegiate basketball, and how do you transition from there?
Well, it's, completely two different worlds. You're talking about women that not only are just the best at what they do in the entire world, but you're talking about women who this is their job, and they have done it for a long time at a professional level, and it's all they have to worry about. Coaching college kids is a lot different. They're not quite adults yet. This isn't their job. They leave here and they've got the stresses of homework and studying and making sure that they're holding themselves to a high level of accountability as a student, as a member of the community. Caira is one of our senior advisors on the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. So she's involved in so many things outside of basketball and academics. So there's a lot more pressures on these kids as they go through college than there are on professional women that are at the peak of their career. So it's very different, and in some ways it can be rewarding to be coaching women at the peak of their career, and in other ways it's like less to be done. You know, they come, they do their job, they know what they're there for. They don't really want your input that much, and so it's fun to be around to see them excel, but you're not as connected. Whereas these guys, you're a part of their life, and you're there for them off the court. You're there to support them through the tough times. You're there to challenge them when they're not at their best, and you're helping them become those young professional women, and that's a different investment, and so therefore at the end of the day, it's a different reward.
We've seen a lot of Caira's playing
Yeah.
down low, and we know she's really dominant inside. But who do you see kind of stepping up in the backcourt to maybe spread the floor a little bit and help her out with everything and such?
Yeah, well, it's kind of been a by committee at this point at our guard spot. I feel like between Maylin, Cammie, and Shannon, we've got 3 guys capable of handling the ball, shooting the ball, and getting the ball in the post. Obviously, there's not a lot of experience at the point guard position at this point, so it's something that we'll have to develop as we go through. But when you've got Hannah Shibley on one wing, Bree Cummings on a wing, or Shannon out there spreading the defense, you have a lot of options offensively. And so, again, I'm trying to get them to understand the balance that we need to have, the touches that Caira needs to have without forcing it into her, letting her touches come within the flow of the offense, but for everybody to feel comfortable looking for their offense. And again, it's still a work in progress, but I think they're embracing the fact that it's going to be more equal opportunity with an emphasis on certain guys getting more touches than others. And so, it's like I said, it's going to be day to day and getting those guys some game experience, getting them some confidence, but I feel good about the group that we have handling the ball out there and the fact that they're going to improve tremendously as we go through the season. All right, let her talk.
So when you first heard about Caira Washington and her pedigree, and then even, as someone going to the Olympics and who's had success at Hartford and at UConn, I guess what was that like? And now that you've worked with her for this time, obviously she's sitting right there, so hopefully this isn't kind of awkward. But what's that been like so far?
It's been great. Her knowledge, her expectations for us. She hasn't let anyone work below the standard, so everyone is being held accountable for what they bring to the team, and it's been great so far. As well, her coaching staff, they all work very well together, letting us know what they expect and what they need from us to accomplish our goals this season.
And for Coach, obviously I'm sure you get asked about, coaching Lee and playing for Coach Auriemma. Whether it's recently at the Olympics or any lessons that you've taken from him over the years that is easy to instill with
Yeah.
girls.
Well, I think Caira kind of hit it on the head, is that we expect their best all the time. I don't think people understand like the pressure it takes to be successful at UConn, because the standard is so high, not just amongst the fans, but more internally. Kids go there because they want to be great. They want to be pushed to their limit, and he doesn't let them perform below their best. And that's what I'm trying to instill in these guys. And Caira can dominate some days in practice because she's better than the girls around her in our program, but that's not good enough for me. I'm always looking to try to challenge her to be great in everything that she does, whether it's her finishing her shot, how she's in a defensive stance, and then even today, like just with her body language when things aren't going her way, it's like I expect more of you. I'm going to hold you to this high standard, and I'm going to really push you this year to help you be able to compete all the time at that standard, because that's what's going to make you great, is what you do individually every day and how you make the people around you better.
Caira, last year, obviously A10 tournament most outstanding, first team all conference, preseason first team all conference again. How do you look to improve your game or build on such a career year when you've already had so much success in your college career?
Just like Coach just said, holding myself accountable and not letting myself work below my standards. So when things aren't going right in practice, being vocal, stepping up, that's been the biggest transition for me this season, is being a vocal leader, because we lost Lauren Chase and John Quill, who were very vocal on and off the court. So that's what I'm working on, to be better, because it's more than just being able to make a shot. It's also being able to talk to my teammates when we're down by 5 or whatever, and being able to step back up and get back in the game.
a couple of weeks we'll head down to Florida for the Gulf Coast Showcase, and you can face some great opponents, Syracuse, runner-up national champions. How do you think that experience will come in handy for you guys down the stretch, especially for your newcomers?
Come on, you know I'm not thinking about anybody besides Georgetown. So it does seem like it's so close, but yet it really is very far for us with 2 weeks left of practice and then 4 games before we head down there. We very much, at this point in the season, are 1 game at a time. But obviously you schedule opportunities to play in tournaments like that to face great competition. I mean, that's what most college teams are doing now, are playing in these kind of MTE tournaments where you can face national level competition on a neutral court. So we're looking forward to the opportunity, but we can't even look past our own practice tomorrow before we start thinking about Syracuse. It's just that schedule was set for us when I got the job playing in that tournament, and I'm definitely excited about putting these guys up against the best. I feel pretty good about betting on them all the time because from what I've seen so far is they're competitive. Like I said earlier, they know how to win, and they're really not afraid of anybody. So I'll be excited to have a chance, for any of our games this year, but, in particular games where we can be the underdog. That's not a bad thing.
Coach, one of the things that Coach Sippers last year said he could live with was a lot of turnovers.
Yeah,
as a
no.
result of fast play. How your kind of your offensive
Yeah.
incentive for his roommates.
No, it's funny because it's probably been one of their biggest adjustments to me, to my style. And I told them that was one of the first things I said in the first meeting, was one thing you're not going to do is turn the ball over as much. So they've been hearing that from the day I got the job. And they continue to hear it, but it is an adjustment. I want them to play fast. I do, because they're good at it in a lot of ways. But I want to maximize our opportunity to score, and I want to minimize our possessions where we have to play defense off of a turnover. I think it's the hardest thing in basketball, to have to defend off of a turnover. I think it completely puts you at a disadvantage when you can't get your defense set, and I really want to be a good defensive team. So we've addressed it. We've talked about it. We're working on it. Again, we'll have some, hiccups in the beginning of the year with our inexperience at that point guard position. But it's just a matter of slowing these guys down a little bit, getting them to play still with that aggressive, fast-paced mindset, but with a little bit more discipline. And once we figure that out, I think we're going to be even harder to guard in transition than they were last year.
Anything else for Caira, Coach? Okay, thanks very much.
Okay. Thanks.